Have you ever wondered why some people rise from ordinary beginnings to extraordinary success while others stay stuck, even though they dream just as big? It's not luck, it's not magic, and it's not reserved for the chosen few. There is a formula, a simple, powerful equation that turns effort into results and dreams into reality. Jim Rohn understood it. Every great achiever has used it, and today you're about to learn it. So stay with me until the end, because once you understand this formula, success stops being a mystery. 1. The role of discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the unseen architecture of every great achievement, the quiet force that transforms potential into reality. Most people dream of success, fulfillment, and mastery, but few are willing to build the habits that lead there. Discipline is not about punishment or denial. It is the act of aligning your daily actions with your highest values. It's a declaration that you refuse to be ruled by impulses, distractions, or fleeting moods. When comfort whispers, "Sleep a little longer," discipline answers, "Rise, your purpose awaits." To live with discipline is to accept that freedom comes from structure. It's paradoxical. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become. When you command yourself to wake early, to read, to exercise, to plan, and to create, you remove the chaos of indecision. You gain control over time instead of being enslaved by it. Discipline gives clarity to ambition. It transforms vague wishes into deliberate action. Each consistent act, each workout, page written, or skill practiced, compounds silently, forming the foundation of excellence. As the Stoics would remind us, we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Discipline tempers that imagination. It grounds us in action. Jim Rohn famously said, "We must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret." This truth is timeless. The pain of discipline is temporary. The early mornings, the self-restraint, the sacrifices. The pain of regret, however, lingers for a lifetime. Regret whispers of wasted potential and lost time. Discipline silences that voice before it ever speaks. Every time you choose consistency over comfort, you invest in a future worth living. You tell your future self, "I respect you enough to prepare for your arrival." Discipline isn't rigid perfection, it's resilience. It's not about never failing, it's about rising every time you do. Those who thrive are not necessarily the most gifted, but the most consistent. They keep showing up day after day, even when motivation runs dry. Motivation is fleeting, discipline endures. The soldier trains in rain and heat. The writer writes through rejection. The athlete pushes past exhaustion. Each act of discipline is a vote for the person you are becoming. It is the daily rehearsal of greatness. And yet, discipline is deeply personal. It's not just about routines or productivity hacks, it's about integrity, doing what you said you would do even when no one is watching. It's self-respect in motion. When you live with discipline, you walk in alignment with your word. You no longer seek validation because your actions are proof of your values. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Discipline is how you become that person. In the end, discipline is a love story. Love for your craft, your growth, your potential. It's the silent promise that today's effort will echo in tomorrow's success. So when life tempts you toward ease, remember, comfort creates mediocrity, but discipline creates destiny. And every small act of self-control, every choice to persist when others stop, is the bridge from who you are to who you were meant to be. 2. The power of a positive attitude. Attitude shapes altitude. It is the invisible force that determines how high you rise and how far you go. Two people can face the same storm. One curses the rain, the other plants seeds. The difference isn't in the weather, it's in the mind. A positive attitude is not blind optimism or denial of difficulty. It is the choice to focus on possibility instead of limitation, on growth instead of defeat. Life tests everyone, but attitude determines who learns and who crumbles. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. What you dwell on, you draw toward you. A positive attitude does not magically erase problems, but it transforms how you face them. It fuels creativity, courage, and resilience. When you see challenges as opportunities for refinement rather than obstacles to success, you unlock potential hidden in adversity. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is the essence of a positive mind, to see every setback as a stepping stone toward wisdom. Negativity narrows your vision. Positivity expands it. When your mind is consumed by worry, you see only walls. When you shift your focus to possibility, walls become doors. A positive attitude allows you to navigate life with grace and adaptability. It gives you the energy to persist when others surrender. It invites solutions to surface where problems once dominated. Your internal weather dictates your external world. As the Stoics taught, we cannot control events, but we can control our response. That response, your attitude, is the power you always possess. Success begins inside long before it appears outside. Every great achievement was first conceived in thought, nurtured by belief, and sustained by attitude. A positive outlook cultivates gratitude, and gratitude transforms ordinary moments into sources of joy. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you move from scarcity to abundance. The mind becomes lighter, the heart steadier. Even in chaos, positivity gives you peace. It becomes your anchor. But positivity is not naive. It doesn't ignore pain or pretend that life is easy. Rather, it recognizes that pain can be purposeful and that even loss can teach. To have a positive attitude is to face the storm with steady eyes, knowing that rain nourishes growth. It's to say, I may not control the waves, but I can learn to sail. This mindset turns endurance into empowerment. It transforms each trial into a teacher. Protect your energy fiercely. What you consume mentally shapes your reality. Guard your thoughts like a garden. Pull the weeds of doubt and plant seeds of hope. Surround yourself with people who uplift rather than drain, who see potential instead of limitation. Feed your mind with books, conversations, and reflections that strengthen your inner light. The world is full of noise, but your inner attitude decides what echoes. Remember, your attitude is the lens that colors your future. Choose a bright one, and you'll illuminate not just your path, but the paths of others as well. 3. How patience and persistence pay. Time is the silent partner in success. Everything meaningful, mastery, growth, love, wisdom, requires time to unfold. Yet we live in an age that worships speed. We crave instant gratification, immediate results, overnight success. But nature doesn't hurry, and still everything is accomplished. The oak tree begins as an acorn. The sunrise follows darkness. Greatness, too, matures slowly, nurtured by patience and persistence. Patience keeps you calm when results seem invisible. Persistence keeps you moving when motivation fades. Together, they form the twin engines of achievement. Many start strong, but few endure the long silence between effort and reward. The road to mastery is paved with repetition, unseen, uncelebrated, but essential. Every small action, every disciplined day adds up. The problem is, most give up right before the breakthrough. Success, like the dawn, often comes just after the darkest hour. Patience is trust in the process. It's believing that progress is happening even when you can't see it. A seed buried in soil shows no sign of life for weeks, yet beneath the surface, roots are forming. Your goals are the same. They grow quietly, nourished by persistence. The Stoics reminded us, No great thing is created suddenly. You cannot rush what must be grown. The impatient person digs up their seeds before they sprout. The wise one waters daily and waits. Persistence, on the other hand, is the muscle of patience. It's action despite fatigue, faith despite delay. When excitement fades, persistence takes over. It's what keeps the artist painting after rejection, the entrepreneur building after failure, the student studying after confusion. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. The difference between success and surrender is often one more day of effort. When you feel like stopping, that is the moment that defines your future. Time rewards those who persist long after passion cools. Progress may be invisible today, but compounded over months and years, it becomes unstoppable. The mountain is climbed one step at a time, not by leaps. Each day you persist, you prove that commitment outweighs comfort. That's where transformation lives, not in moments of excitement, but in the quiet hours of perseverance. Patience and persistence are acts of faith, faith in yourself, in your work, in the rhythm of life. They remind you that success is not a single event, but a process of becoming. So when the journey feels endless, remember this: the universe honors endurance. The sun doesn't rise faster for those who are impatient, but it always rises. Keep showing up, keep moving forward. The reward will come not because luck favored you, but because you refused to stop walking while others waited. That is how patience and persistence pay, not with sudden triumph, but with the quiet glory of a life fully earned. 4. Balancing work and reflection. Hard work is essential, but reflection turns effort into progress. Without pausing to think, you repeat mistakes. Without evaluating your journey, you lose your direction. Jim Rohn believed in learning, journaling, and refining your approach. Every week, ask yourself, what worked, what didn't, what can I improve? Success is not just hustle, it's thoughtful hustle. Work hard, but also think deeply. Many people pride themselves on being busy, yet few can say they are truly effective. The modern world rewards speed, noise, and constant motion, but it rarely celebrates stillness. Yet stillness is where clarity lives. Reflection transforms activity into advancement. It allows you to look back not with regret, but with understanding. Every hour spent reflecting on your work can save you 10 hours of repeating mistakes. When you pause to ask, why did this work? Or why did this fail? You begin to move from the realm of blind effort into that of mastery. Jim Rohn often said, don't just work harder on your job, work harder on yourself. That statement captures the essence of balance between work and reflection. Working hard builds strength, but reflecting builds wisdom. You cannot have one without the other if your goal is lasting success. The carpenter who never sharpens his tools will eventually dull his edge, no matter how many hours he works. Reflection is the sharpening stone for the mind, the quiet process of honing thought, intention, and focus. Reflection doesn't require a mountain retreat or hours of meditation. It can be as simple as spending 10 minutes at the end of each day asking yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? What could I have done better? What did I learn? These small pauses create awareness. Over time, they form a feedback loop that constantly upgrades your habits and decisions. Reflection gives meaning to effort. It's how you extract wisdom from experience. There is a subtle arrogance in endless activity, as if motion alone equals progress, but reflection teaches humility. It reminds you that even with all your effort, you might still be wrong, and that's okay. The key is to see mistakes as data, not defeats. By reflecting on your failures, you transform pain into insight. By reflecting on your successes, you understand what to repeat and how to refine it further. The Stoics practiced this daily. Seneca, one of the most disciplined minds of his age, wrote that each evening he would review his day in detail, what he did, what he thought, and how he reacted. This nightly reflection wasn't self-criticism, it was self-correction. It allowed him to see where he had been wise and where he had been foolish. Over time, that consistent reflection shaped not only his actions, but his character. So, work with all your might, but never lose the wisdom of pause. True growth requires both the hammer of effort and the mirror of reflection. Work gives you progress. Reflection gives you purpose. The two together create power. Don't just chase results, understand them. Don't just move forward, know why you're moving. Because in the end, reflection doesn't slow you down. It keeps you from going in circles. 5. Combining all three for unstoppable growth. Discipline without attitude becomes burnout. Attitude without time becomes wishful thinking. Time without discipline becomes wasted potential. But when discipline fuels your actions, attitude shapes your perspective, and time compounds your effort, growth becomes unstoppable. This formula doesn't just create success, it creates character, confidence, and a life you're proud to live. Each of these three elements, discipline, attitude, and time, is powerful alone, but together they create a kind of alchemy. Discipline gives you structure, attitude gives you spirit, time gives you opportunity. When one is missing, the structure collapses. Without discipline, you drift. Without attitude, you dread. Without time, you despair. But when all three align, they form momentum, the quiet, unstoppable force that moves mountains and transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Discipline is the backbone of progress. It's the quiet promise you keep to yourself when motivation fades. It's waking up when you'd rather sleep, working when no one is watching, and finishing what you start. Yet discipline alone can become mechanical, an endless grind that drains joy from your work. That's where attitude enters. Attitude colors the world you live in. It determines whether an obstacle feels like a burden or a lesson. A strong attitude transforms challenges into chances. It allows you to persist with energy rather than exhaustion. Where discipline is the engine, attitude is the fuel, the positive charge that keeps your actions alive with purpose. Then comes time, the invisible multiplier. Everything worth building takes time. Trust, mastery, reputation, strength. Time rewards those who are consistent, not just intense. You can't rush a harvest, you must nurture it daily. When discipline and attitude meet time, the compound effect begins. Each day's small improvement multiplies into massive growth over years. You don't just become better, you become unstoppable. Jim Rohn often said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day." That truth becomes even deeper when you realize that attitude gives those disciplines life and time gives them power. The person who wakes up daily with gratitude and determination will always outlast the one who sprints without spirit. The greatest mistake is to treat success as an event rather than a process. Growth isn't a finish line, it's a rhythm. When discipline, attitude, and time flow together, you begin to live in harmony with your own potential. You no longer chase results, you embody them. You no longer wish for change, you become change. This balance transforms not only what you do, but who you are. Discipline builds reliability, attitude builds resilience, time builds wisdom. Together, they shape a person who is both grounded and growing, someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, but rises because of it. In the end, unstoppable growth isn't about being perfect. It's about aligning your effort, your mindset, and your patience. It's about trusting that every disciplined step, every positive thought, and every day of persistence is sculpting a stronger version of yourself. When you master that combination, success stops being accidental. It becomes inevitable. You don't just live productively, you live purposefully. That is the ultimate reward of combining all three. Success is not an accident. It's engineered. It's earned through daily choices, humble mindset, and the patience to keep going. As Jim Rohn said, success is predictable when you follow the right formula. Apply it, live it, and watch your future transform.